Hello, guys. Welcome back to, did you forget? Star Teen Mums with me, Pauline Morris, ex Star Teen Mum, current Star Teen Mum, because I had my daughter when I was 17. And that was a while ago now. And I've had an interesting path through life. And I reached a point in time where I thought, you know what? This is one of those topics that we really need to be talking about. And it stems from my own personal ethos, where I believe that nobody should ever be held hostage by the belief that they're not good enough. And having had the experience of being a teen mom, this was something that came to me, big time for a long time. And it was something I had to learn to cope with. And there wasn't a lot of strategies out there. There wasn't a lot of help. There was a lot of judgment. I had my own internal negative narrative to deal with, which, was rooted in societal's negative view of what I'd done in my life and the life of my child. So here I am today. And would you believe I have found the most amazing women, absolutely stunningly amazing women, to join me on this journey, getting that message out there for you, for the parents of those teen moms, the teen moms themselves, and even the teen dads. And as usual, I've got a fantastic lady here for you, Miss Bettina. And as usual, I am not going to steal her thunder. I am going to let her tell her story. And I hope you enjoy it. And I hope you take this journey with us. And here she is now. Hey, Miss Bettina.
Hello, hello. How are you today, Miss Pauline?
Oh, I am really good for having you in my life. Thank you so much for taking time
Of
out of
course.
what I know is your very busy schedule to take time to do this with me, to spread it all out there and be part of Star Teen Mums. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And there's some young girl or young boy or parent out there who's really appreciating it too. I know.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely excited to be here. Um, I, like you, was a teen mom. That was many, many years ago now. But yeah, to me, definitely, this is a topic that, it's near and dear to me too, just because of my lifestyle and what I have learned over the years since being a teen mom. Um, when I was in school, I was the academic. Okay,
Mm.
so I had the good grades. I was in the honors classes. I was in the gifted and talented classes. I was the one that everybody expected to just do everything, to be brilliant. Um, and then I got pregnant at 16. So that kind of threw a wrench in my plans. Um, for me, like actually what happened with me was my mother, after I had my son at 17. It would have been my senior year in high school. My mother actually didn't put me back at school. And of course, I couldn't register myself because I was still a minor. So I actually missed out on my entire senior year of high school. And I was home with my son. So I ended up having to, I, of course, still wanted to go to college. So I ended up having to get my GED just so I could be able to go to college. And that was like a lot for me just because, that to me, that's not how I saw my life. Like I didn't expect my life to go that way where I didn't even graduate high school. And, I'm taking, to me, I kind of saw those as like the not as smart people route. I had like my own stigma about that type of education,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and here I found myself being that person. So, in a lot of ways, I had to really kind of encourage myself, and I'm going to be perfectly honest here when I say it took a lot of years for me to get myself back to a level of enough encouragement to move forward. I ended up being stuck because now I was the stereotype. I was the teen mom.
Yeah.
Um, so for the most part, I really, even though I wanted to go to college, I started and then I stopped because, now I was a teen mom. What else was there for me really to do but to be the young mom? So I did that. Um, and I can say, looking back on it now, I'm not upset about it because I still managed to learn a lot. I learned a lot about myself, um, and what I am capable of. But I can say I could have did more. There were more opportunities, but I was in such a slump that I just couldn't get myself out of it. Um, it took until I was in my 20s actually, where I started to get myself out of this slump and say to myself, hey, you know what? Just because you were young and had a child, your world doesn't have to end. And to be perfectly honest, I might have gotten out of this sooner if I had more support pushing me to do it. Because I actually had friends who uh, also were teen moms, but their support system was different than mine.
Yeah.
So like one of my friends with her mom made sure that she continued in school, was taking night classes to catch up on the time that she missed. I mean, like parents who are on it to help their children still succeed. I unfortunately did not have that. So my pushing all came through me doing it for myself.
Wow. That's amazing.
Took a while. Yeah, it took a while, but we got there. We
Give
got
yourself
there.
some credit, girl. That's amazing.
Yeah, and it is. And the thing is, though, for any of the teen moms out there, just know, even if it feels like it's taking a while, I guess that's the point I'm getting to, really. Even if it feels like it's taking a while to get everything together, it can still happen. It really can still happen. Just, don't give up, especially if you're basically your own support system. If anything, be proud of that. Pat yourself on the back that you keep pushing regardless, and know that it can be done. Because I did it, and I ended up, going back to college, getting everything done, and then, now as my son has gotten older, now we're each other's support system. Because we pretty much grew up together, so we can communicate in a way where he understands me and I understand him, and I can be a support for him in a way I never received from my family. So, like that part of it is actually really, really great. I have to say that. I feel like I'm kind of off topic, but
No, you're not. You're not.
but I
Like this
finished.
is your story. This is how your life,
Yeah,
panned out and what's working for you. So this is all just, really
right.
lovely and so inspiring to hear. So no, but thank you for sharing it. You're not off piste at all.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Excellent. So yeah, it was it had definitely been a learning experience. And I can say that was one thing for me. I've always been a learner. And I'm not one who's just gonna lay down and give up. It's not in me to do it. I could tell myself I'm gonna do that and know that by next week that's just not what it's going to be because I can't do it. So but yeah, once I went ahead and finished school, went to school for anthropology of all things. I know that seems like really random, but yeah, I went to school for anthropology, still ended up in business, ended up working in the corporate world. One thing that was great for me is because of my aptitude and my intelligence, I always was able to get jobs in the corporate world. So even as a teen mom, I wasn't relegated to those like typical type of jobs where it's just like you're a receptionist or you're working at a fast food place or things that they really expect of young mothers. That wasn't me. I was able to get myself like open some doors for myself and get into a lot of different areas that you just would have never expected, which was great because definitely helped out. But I had the drive to do so. So that's one thing I would definitely recommend is no matter what, have that drive to do more because not only are you capable of it, but if you continue to keep that drive, it definitely is going to open some doors and make things happen for you. And for me, that's exactly how it went. I just kept that drive and trying to do better and better. And I continue to do better and better because that's what I wanted for myself. I knew I was worthy of it. And I knew that my son was worthy of it as well. We were worthy and deserving of better, no matter what the circumstances were when we initially started on this journey together of him being born. So by 2012, I started my first business, which was Osisis. It took a lot of work. I actually ended up leaving the corporate world in 2014. By then, my son, he was a teenager, so he could pretty much handle himself at that point. So I worked that business. That Osisis was basically a business consulting for underrepresented areas, business consulting and graphics, so graphics, websites, logos, things of that nature. I still operate Osisis, but more recently I started my bigger company, which is Crubble. Crubble is just, it's a whole community effort. It's not just a business. Crubble really is there to help people like teen moms who want to start businesses, or people, period, who come from underrepresented communities, to help to give them the tools and resources that they need to be able to create a successful business. With a lot of us, especially even with young girls, you know, they want to be entrepreneurs. They want to start their own business, but they're missing a lot of the fundamentals when it comes to actually operating a business. So for my company, for Crubble, we're there to help close the gap. So that way you can be successful. If you really want to work for yourself, especially as a teen mom, if you really want to work for yourself, you know, we're providing a path to help you get there and be successful at it. With Crubble, we have things like a gifting network. We have a bartering network. Those two are networks where members can share with each other, like they can gift and barter with each other, so they can help each other out. Because in our community, you know, the ability to be able to unite and help each other is huge. Because you might have resources that somebody else doesn't have. Like, you could have a service that somebody else can need, but they could have a product or a service that you need. So if we can share that with each other, everybody wins. Within the Crubble network, we also have a pitch network, work on your pitch. We have business courses that are free for all members. We have business books, things like that. We also are rolling out a business credit builder program that's built specifically for people of color, just because we know that when it comes to people of color, traditional lines of credit often don't apply to us because we just can't get them no matter how good our credit is. So we have that. And then also too, with our members, they're eligible for grants, which is huge for us, because when it comes down to it, that's the main thing that a lot of us need is capital. That's period. We don't have the money that we need to do a lot of the things we need to do. So members are, after 90 days of paid membership, they become eligible to win grants that can assist them with their business. So that is Crubble. I feel like that's my gift to the world, as someone who comes from an underrepresented community, as someone who started to go down the path of being a stereotype. That's what I feel I can give back, because I've been on both sides. You know, I've been on the successful side, but I've also been on the poor side. You know, like I understand things in a way where I can be the bridge and help people on both sides. So that's my gift. But yeah, now my son, my oldest son, he is actually in college now. He's studying astrophysics.
Wow.
So that's another thing too that I want to make sure. I want to make sure that teen moms are aware of. No matter what you do, understand that your child is capable of a lot more too, that they are not like bound to just be poor or horrible or, just any of the negative things that they try to put on children that come from teen moms. Know that your child doesn't have to live like that. They can be so much more. You can expect more. You can give them more so that they can accomplish their dreams. Because that was one of the biggest things that I have. Like, no matter what, I want you to be able to live in such a way where you can follow your passion and accomplish your dreams. And I will make sure, no matter what, that you get that opportunity. So here we are. He has his opportunity because that's always been his thing ever since he was a child, and he's following it. And we are going to make sure that he completes it and gets there. So
That's
yeah.
fantastic. That is brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I, and you kind of explained it while you were talking just now, your Facebook profile, it has the most, it's such an epitomal statement. There was never space for me at the table, so I built my own. I mean,
Yes.
that's
Yes.
such an epic statement, isn't it? And
Yes.
listening to
Yes.
you tell your story, it not only did you build a space, you build a table, then you decided to put the concrete around it, and you stuck a roof on it, and then you decided to do it
Yeah.
somewhere else. And
Yeah.
you didn't just create a space, you created this whole kingdom for your queendom for
There you
yourself.
go. Yeah. Yeah.
Fantastic. But I need to ask you, I mean, Krebbel,
Mm-hmm.
the vision for that, where did you find the inspiration for that? Where
Well,
did an
initially,
anthropology student find that? Where did that come to you?
well, okay. So I went to school for anthropology because I thought I was going to be an archaeologist. So my
Right?
major is anthropology. My minor was art history because nobody can tell me that I was not going to be an archaeologist. But then, of course, it's like, okay, but you're working in business. You're really good at business. You have a lot of skills when it comes to business. Mm, I think I can continue to have a love for history, but I feel like that's not where you're meant to go. So
Yeah,
I
fair
still
enough.
have that love for history, but I knew it wasn't where I was meant to be. And then with Preble, so initially, actually, let me go back. When I opened Osisis, like I said, Osisis was created specifically for those in underrepresented communities. I wanted to be a consultant to help bridge that gap so they could learn what they needed to learn. But the thing is, it wasn't really going well with Osisis with that because everybody saw design. Like Osisis is a design firm. So that's really what they gravitated towards. So I actually did away with the consulting, but there was still something in me that's like, okay, I still need to do something where I'm helping these entrepreneurs and small business owners who really, really need this help. And so that's when I started to form the idea of Preble. I was like, I'm not going to do it with Osisis because people really expect that as a design firm. So we're going to leave it just as that. And I'm like, I'm going to do it actually with a whole different company where that's what it's built on. And that's the only thing it's built on, helping these entrepreneurs and small business owners. And initially I was like, okay, well, we can make it a credit builder, which is where the name Krebbel came from, credit builder. So
Oh, I like
put
that.
those
Like
together.
StarTeenMum. That great
There
play
you
on
go.
words.
Yeah. So it's a play on words. So that's where I actually got it from. But then I was like, you know what, though? It's not just going to be a credit builder. It's going to be that company that really bridges that gap. We're going to do a lot more. So that's when I started to plan for. I actually took old things that I had with those sites, like the business books, having like hundreds of business ebooks online. Like I used to have that with those sites. So I moved that over. The business courses, I again took those and put those on there. These are things that I already had, but I never really pushed because I was always so busy with the design side of Osisis. And now they're marketed under Krebbel in the Krebbel membership. And so like phase one was our Crinkubator. So Crinkubator is basically Krebbel's incubator. So it's an online incubator and social platform. So it's basically a social platform just like Facebook. You can log in, you have your timeline, you have everything just like you would have on Facebook. And then within that, you also have books and courses and all of those wonderful things. But like for me, when I was putting all of this together, it's just because it's like I've always had that push in me that's like you can do more. Like your point here in life is to do more. And I knew I was not going to be happy until I really found that what that doing more was.
Do
And
you
so
think?
now with this, like, hmm,
Do you think if you didn't have your son at 16, you would have still had that same drive? Do you think you would have still had, I mean, yes, that's obviously innate in you, but that drive that you keep talking about, do you think you would have had it if you hadn't had your son?
um, I think I still would have had it, but I think I would have went in a completely different direction.
Right.
Like when a lot of people are young, they say that they have like these certain jobs that they want. When I was young, I wanted to be a neurosurgeon, and that was my ideal of a good job. I didn't want to be an actor or actress.
Neurosurgical historical anthropologist,
Yeah, there we
businesswoman.
go, exactly.
Right.
So yeah, I had like this whole big mix, like, and that was when I was young. So I'm talking about like go into elementary school. I wanted to be a neurosurgeon. I didn't start to want to be a archaeologist until I was in like my teens, and then I was like, no, no, because I love history so much. But prior to that, I wanted to be a doctor. That's what I was going to be. When I was 5, I wanted to be a lawyer. Like when my mom asked me what I wanted to be when I was 5, I said I wanted to be a lawyer.
You were a
So
very
you
child,
see
I'm sure. Very interesting child to have a conversation with, definitely.
So I've always had like this drive for these positions that you don't typically hear from a child. But if I didn't have him, I probably would have ended up going in being a doctor. I probably would have ended up, actually I would probably ended up in the military just because I most likely would have went to like some type of military school, either West Point or the naval school in Annapolis. I probably would have went to one of those, but I still would have ended up a doctor.
Well, I'll
But
tell
I
you
feel
what,
like
you're
mhm,
just as interesting to talk to now as if you were
thank
5
you,
years old.
thank you.
And that kind of takes me back a little bit because when we were
Hmm.
talking before we actually
Right,
started recording, you said
right,
something, and it came up in a previous interview I did where I talked about when you actually look at what support there is online for
right.
teen moms, what resources there are, it's very clinical and there really isn't anything.
Hmm.
And you mentioned something when we were talking earlier offline that I'd forgotten completely about, and it was the MTV Teen Moms.
Yes, yes.
And I remember seeing that, and I didn't really know what to make of it. It seemed like a cross between Celebrity, Love Island, and Wife Swap. And it
Yes.
was just I didn't really know what I actually wondered is whether teen moms and teen parents were actually watching this and whether that was actually a good thing or not.
Right. I don't. I feel like okay. I feel like in a lot of ways it's glamorizing teen pregnancy, but not for us.
Mm,
I think it's glamorizing it in a way where it's like, okay, I can get pregnant, I can be on this reality TV show, and really, then I'm gonna make money, and so
mm,
I won't have to worry about, if I finish school or if I, try to look for a good career or find my true passion. It's kind of like, we live in this society where it's like people they want everything that they want right now without actually having to work for it. And I feel like a show like Teen Mom is kind of pushing that because they're showing like these young girls where, okay, I can live in a world of drama, because you know that they're definitely
Yeah,
pushing
yeah,
drama
yeah.
because that's how
Drama.
they get their views.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I can live in this world of drama with a lack of any real responsibility, even though I have this little person, and that's going to be my life. When in actuality, like there is really nothing glamour about being a young mom. And I definitely feel like, especially for girls of color, like we don't, we definitely don't see that side at all. Um,
There
there,
was
yeah,
there was a girl of color on it when I sort of eyeballed it, if I remember correctly.
there might be one,
There was, I think there was.
maybe, yeah, there might be one, but for the most part, that's not what you see on there.
Mm,
Yeah, even like 16, there was 16 and pregnant, and then there was Teen Mom. Like that's just not what you see on there. And a couple of them came from money. I remember on the one original show, because that's the first season of the show that came out, there was like maybe one girl who really was from, you know, a family, a poorer family. But for a lot of them, you know, they came from their parents lived pretty decent lives, and they were well provided for to begin with. Um, and for a lot of us, you know, that's
yeah,
not our reality. You know, that's not our reality. Everything we fight for, we're fighting for. You know, like every hurdle that we get over is a lot for us just to get to a certain point in life. And I feel like for us, you know, for other people, may be a lot of resources, but for us, there aren't as many resources. And I can say that just from where I live, like you have to really, I can say, well, let me say this. For me, because of the fact that I know I was raised in a way where I can speak, you know,
mm,
intelligently. I can speak properly. Um, I have, you know, certain like etiquette, knowledge of certain etiquette and mannerisms that people they'll work with me because they see me in a certain way. But then there are other young girls who just don't have that. You know, they may speak in slang or ghetto, you know, as they may call it, and you know, their appearance may not be something that people feel comfortable with. And as a teen mom, that makes life even harder for you.
yeah,
I mean, way harder, just because if you don't know how to communicate in a way that people agree with or that people accept, now all of a sudden you're not even going to be able to get as good as jobs as somebody else who can. Now, when you walk into an office asking for help, they're looking at you already a certain type of way. You know, they're putting you lower on the totem pole of what may be a good thing or a good place for you, just because of the fact that you know the way of how you present yourself. Like I went to like a job program when I was still like 18 or something like that, just you know to help me get a job. And I remember like they were placing people for jobs, and for me, I ended up in a tax office. You know, working in a tax office, which was great because oh, for one, the pay was great. You know, but I was considered a candidate for that just because of how I present myself and how I speak. But there were other young girls in there who just definitely did not have that. And the jobs that they were offered were nothing compared to the opportunity I was offered. So, like, having that tax job really opened up a lot of doors for me to start working in like accounting and doing other financial work. So that helped me out a lot. But I know those same other girls who were in that class with me, they didn't have that same opportunity because they didn't present themselves and have the vernacular that I have. But again, you can't hold that against them. But it was held
but
against
it does though.
them. So it does. Yeah, exactly. You shouldn't hold it against them. You should really be trying to help them to learn better but you're automatically going to have the stigma on you where it's just like, well, you're not deserving of better, so we're not even going to offer it to you.
Yeah, I do get that. And I have to say, I had maybe not quite the same, but similar experiences when, when I was in medical school. And I remember my roommate asked me, "Why are you here?"
Oh,
And
yeah.
I was so, I was so naive back then. I was just like, the same reason you're here, to be a doctor.
Right.
Right. And
Right.
and this was something that really puzzled me. And I spoke to I had another friend who was a bit older and wiser than me, and he said to me, "My dear, the question was not why are you here? The question was, why are you here when you don't belong here?" And
Mm-hmm.
I think that came, and now listening to you talk about it, I always thought that was partly because I had my daughter when I was a teenager, and I was just not supposed to do things like
Right.
become a doctor. I was supposed to, as you say, I was supposed to be a cashier, or I was supposed to, there's certain jobs that I just wasn't
Yeah.
supposed to be able to do. But listening to you talk about it, and I my parents were very particular about the way we walked and the way we spoke,
Yeah.
but we were still
Yeah.
sort of lower middle class, and when I
Right.
looked
Yeah.
around the people that I was in the classroom with, most of them were not of that, they were middle class and upwards. And just listening to you
Mm-hmm.
talk about that, it suddenly dawned on me that that was probably part of it as well, that people judged me for not just the fact that I was 17 and pregnant. Well, I was 17 and pregnant. I was
Right.
21 when I was in medical school. Was that
Right.
my social status? So I had a double whammy.
Yeah. Exactly. Yes.
for
Yes.
not
Yep.
for why are you here. So it's really
Yep.
interesting to hear that. So when you think back and you put all this together, and I can, we haven't known each other very long, but I see that you are a woman that, you spend time in self-reflection, and you take time to think about what meaning things have to you. When you
Right.
when you sort of put this all together, how you didn't really get the support that you needed, that we all need as teen moms, but yet you managed to push yourself, and you found yourself in a position where you're actually able to give back. When
Right.
you put that all together, what would you say to the teen moms and dads and the parents of the teen moms that are watching this? When you put your story together in that little pot,
Right.
not that
Yes.
your story fits in a little pot,
Right. That's okay.
in 1,000 words or less.
Okay. Yes. Because I can be talkative. Trust me.
Oh, girl, competition. That was always on
So,
my report card. Pauline talks too much.
yeah, I had that too. Trust me. So, but yeah, what I would say to them is, things, of course, always are going to look hard. And adding a baby to it, that's going to make it that much harder. But in the end, you're going to see how strong you really are. You just have to continue to believe in yourself. That you have to look at your little human that you had as a blessing and as, just your encouragement. Don't look at it from the aspect of, oh my goodness, now I'm a parent. Everything is going to be so much harder. Don't look at it like that. Look at it like this is a blessing and this is your encouragement to do more and be more, and then show the world that is possible. Like, I think for me, that was definitely one of my biggest encouragements to myself, is telling myself, you know what? I'm not going to be that stereotype. I'm going to show people exactly what is possible for someone who came from my background in my position. And you can do it too, whether you have that support that you need or not. When you're really pushing yourself, that support actually is going to come, and it's going to come from people you least suspect it from, because
Mm,
people are going to see your drive And once those people start seeing your drive, even if your own family doesn't see it or your closest friends, these outsiders and strangers are going to see it, and they're going to be willing to invest in you and help you because they see that you are not giving up. So just don't give up, because the quickest way for others to give up on you is for you to give up on yourself. So just don't do it. Keep pushing, and I promise you, you got this. I can promise you. It might take a little time, but we're not all on the same schedule. That's okay. Doesn't have to be quick, but it's going to be worth it. Just believe that much, and everything else will work out in the end.
Oh, fantastic. That's great. I really like that. And that's a big ethos in my life about being open to people. And when people see that, as you said, they see that you're doing it, they see your drive. And you're right, not everybody sees it. And some people see it and they just think, why are you even bothering? But then you meet those 1, 2, 3 people. You meet the energy of the cosmos is so great, is that you meet these people when you need to meet them, but you have to
exactly when you need to.
You have to be open. You can't walk around with your hands fisted and your chest tight and your mind closed. You have to, you will get hurt when you do it. There will be people who will take advantage of that and mess you about. But if you keep your heart open and let those people come to you and come to your life, good things happen. It's great to hear you say that, because that's something I truly believe happens for all aspects of life.
Oh yeah. I definitely believe that one. And two, don't be afraid to ask for help sometimes. Like sometimes we get stuck feeling like, others have let us down and we can only depend on ourselves, or like we're all we have, Don't get stuck in that type of thinking. Sometimes it's okay to ask for help. And, if people end up letting you down, it's going to happen, but you're going to get people who don't. And those people who don't let you down and they come through more than you even expect, they're going to make it work.
That is very true. As we take this really wonderful conversation to a conclusion, tell me, if anybody is out there is listening to this and is thoroughly inspired by it, and I don't see how they couldn't be, and they want to get in contact with you and they want to know more about what you're doing, what's the best way to do that?
So the website is Krebul.com. That's Krebul.com. And then we're, of course, on Facebook at Krebul, so Krebul, and on Instagram at Krebul LLC. So we are all across the internet.
As life is these
we can
days.
Be found. Yes, definitely, and for, especially any young parents, if looking for, if becoming an entrepreneur and creating your own path is what you're really looking for in life, I definitely implore you to come on over to Krebul, because we are more than happy to help you get to a point where you can have a successful business. So.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate you, and I appreciate the time you spent with us. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is Miss Bettina, and you know where to find her, and there'll be a little tile card at the end, so you can really hone in on those details and get in contact with her. And you know what, even if you don't want to be an entrepreneur, it sounds like this is such an amazing opportunity to learn so much. Please, I take advantage of it. I wish there was this sort of thing around earlier on in my life when I didn't know where to turn or what to do. It sounds like an incredibly supportive community. I mean, I say it sounds like, I've kind of peeped in there and had a look, so I know it's an incredibly supportive community. So thank you very much for listening again from another one of our amazing StarTeen mums. On behalf of Boliv Thinks About Heart, Mind, and Moxie, see you again. Till the next time we meet with another amazing, fantastic woman who is changing the world, because she also believes that nobody should ever be held hostage by the belief that they're not good enough. See you next time.